Title, trust is a trap. The cold reality of power. In the world of power, trust is not a virtue, it's a vulnerability. The belief that loyalty is eternal or that friendships are unconditional is a myth that only the naive still cling to. Machiavelli warned us long ago, alliances only last as long as you remain useful. The moment your value diminishes the hands that once applauded, you are the first to throw stones. This isn't cynicism, it's survival. Power doesn't belong to those who love the deepest, but to those who can detach the fastest. Many people stumble through life hoping to build a circle of loyal allies, but in the brutal arena of influence, every smile can conceal a knife. The ones who seem closest, your colleagues, your lover, even your family, may be watching and waiting for your first misstep. Loyalty fades when it's no longer convenient. Support evaporates when standing beside you becomes a liability. What's worse is that betrayal often doesn't come from your enemies. It comes from those who once claimed to be your friend. Emotion is the leash. The more you invest in others blindly, the tighter that leash becomes. Caring too much, trusting too soon, hoping too deeply, these are not signs of strength. They are weaknesses predators exploit. If you want to survive, you must see people not through the lens of wishful thinking, but through the cold clarity of observation. Who benefits from your success? Who starts pulling away when you no longer serve their interests? Power demands distance. You don't have to be heartless, but you must be sharp. Build relationships, yes, but build them on strategy, not sentiment. The truly powerful are not the ones with the most friends. They're the ones who can walk alone and still control the board. When you stop expecting loyalty, you stop being blindsided by betrayal. In the end, trust should never be freely given. It must be earned, tested, and even then kept under watch. Because the moment you relax, the moment you believe someone would never turn on you, that's when the blade slips in. In the game of power, trust isn't sacred. It's a calculated risk, and those who don't treat it as such are the first to fall. Fake friends are not always loud. They don't storm into your life with visible red flags. Often they wear the perfect mask, supportive, charming, and convenient. They smile in public, flatter you in meetings, and say all the right things. But beneath that polished exterior lies calculation. These individuals don't exist to help you thrive. They're waiting for you to slip so they can advance. Recognizing these people isn't just about protecting your feelings, it's about protecting your future. Because in the game of power, betrayal doesn't knock. It whispers slowly and quietly until it strikes when your guard is down. You must begin with a shift in mindset. Assume everyone has a motive. Not out of paranoia, but out of wisdom. Watch how they react when you succeed. Do they celebrate you sincerely, or do their eyes narrow ever so slightly with envy? Do they echo your goals in public and undermine them in private? Look for patterns, not just words, but behaviors. The person who praises you too eagerly, who never disagrees, may not be loyal. They may be rehearsing. The one who listens but never shares, who asks questions but reveals nothing, is gathering ammunition, not building connection. True betrayal doesn't always come with a dramatic reveal. Sometimes it's in the leaked secret, the missed opportunity, or the subtle shift in energy when you start winning. That's why it's critical to sharpen your psychological radar. Observe the micro expressions, the flicker of resentment, the fake laugh that doesn't reach their eyes, the calculated silence when they could have spoken in your defense. Each reaction is a data point. Over time, you'll begin to see who is truly on your side and who is merely biding their time. It's not about cutting everyone off or living in suspicion. It's about learning to read the game for what it is. Two-faced people are not rare. They're embedded in the structure of ambition. The higher you rise, the more masks you'll encounter. What once felt like friendship becomes a performance, and unless you're paying attention, you'll find yourself applauding your own downfall. In a world where appearances are currency, your greatest asset isn't who likes you. It's your ability to spot who's lying when they say they do. Friendship in the realm of power is rarely built on love or loyalty. It's built on interest and convenience. This is a bitter truth that many refuse to accept. We grow up believing that bonds can be pure, that some relationships are immune to the tides of ambition. But the moment you rise, whether in status, influence, or authority, those bonds begin to shift. People no longer see you for who you are. They see you for what you can offer. And when that offering dries up, so does their loyalty. What once felt like connection becomes a transaction cold and conditional. The mistake many make is assuming that deep loyalty will survive success or hardship. But relationships built on emotion often collapse under the weight of shifting power dynamics. When your success threatens someone else's comfort, don't expect applause, expect calculation. The same hand that once helped you climb may reach to pull you down, not because you've changed, but because your value to them has. Interest fades, and when it does, the smiles vanish with it. This doesn't mean all relationships are doomed. It means you must approach them with discernment. Ask yourself, if I lost everything today, who would still stand beside me? Who sees me as a person, not just a resource? These questions are painful, but necessary. Because when times are good, everyone wants to be close. But when the convenience disappears, so do the opportunists. Even more dangerous than the obvious betrayer is the subtle manipulator, the one who stays just long enough to extract the last drop of benefit, then slips away without a trace. These are the people who praise your ambition until it surpasses theirs, who support your dreams until those dreams overshadow their own. They are polite, clever, and always calculated. You must learn to see through the act. Build relationships that are rooted not in dependency, but in mutual strength. Surround yourself with those who value you for your mind, your principles, not just your position. And most importantly, remain grounded. Let no compliment cloud your judgment, and no alliance make you forget that in this game, people change the moment their needs do. Power doesn't corrupt people, it reveals them. And what it reveals is often uncomfortable but necessary to survive. Power doesn't only require intelligence, it demands emotional control and heightened psychological awareness. In a world full of performance and hidden agendas, the person who masters their inner world gains the upper hand. When you reveal too much, when you react too quickly, when you speak from emotion instead of strategy, you hand your enemies a map to your weaknesses. That's why Machiavelli taught that a wise leader must learn to simulate virtue, but always be prepared to abandon it when the situation demands. Your emotions must become tools, not liabilities. Feel them, yes, but never let others see them unless it serves your purpose. To survive in a world full of two-faced players, you must become a quiet observer. Not paranoid, but precise. Watch people, not just what they say, but how they say it. Facial micro-expressions, shifts in tone, avoidance in eye contact. These are the real confessions. Most people don't lie well under pressure. Their bodies betray them long before their words do. Ask calculated questions in neutral tones. Let silence pressure them to fill the gaps. What they reveal unconsciously is often far more honest than what they say on purpose. But observation isn't enough. You must also become a master of your own emotions. Betrayal, criticism, and opposition are inevitable. What separates the powerful from the powerless is the ability to remain still in the storm. When someone tries to provoke you, don't react, record. Let them think you're oblivious while you're filing away every detail for later use. Anger, if expressed too soon, becomes evidence. But anger, held and aimed with intention, becomes a weapon. Keep a private mental ledger of behavior. Who hesitates when asked to support you? Who subtly redirects praise toward themselves? Over time, you'll begin to see patterns, and from those patterns, power emerges. When you control your own reactions while quietly documenting those of others, you become untouchable. Not cold, but calculated. Not emotionless, but unshakable. The truth is simple. The more emotionally intelligent you are, the harder you are to manipulate. And in the game of power, manipulation is constant. But those who remain calm, alert, and in control will always be 2 steps ahead of those who live in reaction. In the ruthless theater of power, survival doesn't depend on how many friends you have. It depends on your ability to form strategic alliances rather than emotional attachments. Too many people confuse companionship with loyalty and sentiment with security. But in truth, every relationship that thrives in high-stakes environments is built on mutual interest, not unconditional affection. Once that interest fades, the connection dies with it. That's why the wise don't seek permanent bonds, they build temporary alliances with clear purpose and defined limits. A strategic alliance is not about trust, it's about leverage. You align with someone because your goals intersect for a moment in time. You share access, influence, or information as long as it serves both parties. But the moment their ambition begins to clash with yours, or they show signs of drifting loyalty, you disengage calmly, cleanly, and without apology. You owe no one permanence in a world where everyone is quietly pursuing their own advantage. This isn't heartless, it's honest, and it protects you from the emotional fallout of betrayal. Because when you understand that no alliance is meant to last forever, you no longer feel shocked when someone turns. Instead, you're prepared. You've already set boundaries. You've already built the exit strategy. The key is to observe behavior, not promises. Watch how they respond under pressure. Give them small tests of loyalty, limited opportunities to prove discretion or follow through. If they pass you, reward them subtly. If they fail, you step back strategically. Every alliance should have a sunset clause, a quiet point where the connection is reevaluated and, if necessary, dissolved. That way you remain in control. You avoid entanglements that drain your energy or expose your strategy. Forming these alliances doesn't mean living in isolation. It means practicing calibrated trust, the ability to cooperate without being vulnerable, to collaborate without being dependent. You don't have to reject people. You just need to define the terms of engagement with clarity and purpose. Remember, in a world ruled by power, loyalty without strategy is just sentiment waiting to be betrayed. But alliances built on clear terms, mutual gain, and measured expectations, they make you not only safer but stronger. You don't need forever. You need effective temporary alignments that move you forward, nothing more, nothing less. Information is not just power, it's a weapon. And in the game of influence, those who control the narrative control reality. This is why the truly powerful don't just move in silence, they move strategically, leaking selective truths, planting decoys, and shaping perception long before action is ever taken. If you want to protect yourself from betrayal and stay ahead of your enemies, you must learn to weaponize information to manipulate the flow, not drown in it. Too often, people speak without thinking, post without purpose, and overshare in the name of trust. But everything you say, everything you reveal, can and will be used against you in a world ruled by ambition. What seems like a harmless joke or a casual update can quickly become ammunition in someone else's narrative. That's why you must become intentional with your words. Never say more than necessary. Speak in layers. Let others interpret, assume, and chase shadows. Their confusion is your camouflage. You don't need to lie. You need to master controlled ambiguity, the ability to reveal partial truths that serve your interests while hiding your real agenda. Give just enough to build rapport or gain access. Then stop. Let silence do the rest. Leak different versions of the same story to different people, and watch carefully to see which version resurfaces. This not only identifies leaks, it tells you who is aligned, who is careless, and who might be turning. Control also extends to your environment. Choose where meetings happen. Curate the energy in the room. Seating positions, background cues. Even subtle symbolic gestures can reinforce your dominance. A simple whisper, a glance at the right moment, or a well-placed pause can shift the power dynamic without ever raising your voice. In this world, appearance often outweighs substance. Your ability to command perception becomes your shield and sword. You're not deceiving people, you're protecting your position. You're ensuring that while others play checkers, you're playing chess. If your enemies don't know what you're thinking, they can't block your moves. If they can't trace your steps, they can't copy your strategy. Power belongs to those who control what others see, hear, and believe, even if none of it is the full truth. Your reputation is not just a reflection of who you are. It's a weapon that determines how the world treats you. In the game of power, your public image must be crafted with surgical precision. Every gesture, every word, every move in the spotlight must be strategic. Not because you crave validation, but because perception drives opportunity. If people believe you're strong, valuable, and untouchable, they will treat you as such, even if beneath the surface you're still building your foundation. In the eyes of the crowd, appearance becomes reality. This is why power demands not just competence, but performance. You must learn to orchestrate moments, acts of generosity that seem sincere, rewards that spark admiration, and occasional displays of strength that silence doubt. But each public gesture should serve a double purpose: to attract respect and to test loyalty. The dinner you host, the praise you give, the spotlight you shine on an ally, each act reveals who steps forward with humility and who grows resentful in your light. Pay attention. Jealousy hides in applause. Scarcity is another tool. Make yourself less accessible. Withdraw invitations, limit collaboration, and restrict access to your time and attention. People crave what they can't have. When others feel like they must earn your presence or prove themselves to gain favor, you create a psychological demand, a perception of high value that reinforces your status. Be generous but never too available. Be inspiring but never fully transparent. The goal is not to deceive, it's to direct. Control your image so that others project their ambitions onto you. Let them believe you hold the key to their advancement, their protection, their future. In doing so, you become indispensable, not by force, but by design. Your reputation must be both shield and bait. Shield yourself from attacks by standing tall in public integrity. Bait your rivals into exposing themselves by feeding them illusions of power. And always remember, when perception is on your side, the truth becomes irrelevant. Because in the game of power, what matters most isn't who you are, it's what they believe you are. So craft it well, defend it fiercely, and let your image speak louder than any defense ever could. In a world where deception hides behind every smile, constant vigilance and self-reliance become your greatest armor. You cannot afford to drift through life on autopilot, trusting blindly or assuming loyalty just because it's been claimed. Power. Real power is not about being surrounded by people. It's about standing alone with eyes wide open. The person who depends on no one cannot be blackmailed. The one who relies on their own insight cannot be manipulated. This isn't about isolation out of fear, it's about clarity born from wisdom. Every day you are surrounded by silent observers, some who want to see you succeed, but many who quietly hope you slip. That's why your attention must be sharper than their intentions. Begin each morning not with mindless routine, but with reflection. Who greeted you yesterday with authentic warmth? Who avoided eye contact? Who repeated your words a little too exactly? These may seem like small details, but in the world of betrayal, small things are the loudest warnings. Develop rituals of scrutiny. At night, replay the day. Ask yourself, what did they really mean by that compliment? Why did that person hesitate when asked for support? Keep mental records. Over time, patterns will emerge. Patterns that tell you who is genuine and who wears a mask. And the earlier you spot the mask, the sooner you can neutralize the threat. But even more powerful than observation is your ability to trust yourself above all. Build a fortress within. Practice emotional discipline so that your reactions don't betray your thoughts. Share only what's necessary and even then filter it. Rotate roles among those you rely on so no one becomes indispensable. Keep your cards close. Because the moment someone knows too much, they control too much. True strength isn't loud, it's quiet. It's in the pause before the reaction, the silence that makes others uncomfortable, and the confidence that comes from needing no approval. When you become your own ally, you're no longer vulnerable to the betrayals of others. You rise above them not out of arrogance, but out of awareness. In a world built on shifting alliances and fragile loyalty, your greatest advantage is being able to walk alone and still lead. In the realm of power, those who lead from the shadows often control more than those who shout from the front. To truly dominate the game, you must master the art of subtle control, psychological warfare, without raising your voice, silent influence without exposing your intent. Every conversation, every expression, every environment can be engineered to tip the balance in your favor. The goal is not brute force, but quiet manipulation, a chess match where the opponent doesn't realize they're playing until it's already checkmate. Start by understanding this: every setting can be a weapon. The room you choose for a meeting, the seat you take at the table, the lighting, the decor, it all speaks louder than words. A casual talk in a confined space with you at the head of the table signals authority. A deliberate silence in the middle of a negotiation creates discomfort pressure. The environment itself becomes your accomplice, shifting the emotional energy in your favor before you say a word. Then come the words themselves, deliberate, ambiguous, layered. Speak in half-truths. Offer information that seems complete, but hides the core. Present options that feel like choices, but all lead to your desired outcome. Ask questions that reveal more than they answer. People will expose themselves trying to impress you, prove their value, or gain your approval. Embed tests into your interactions. Offer two people conflicting versions of a story and observe which rumor returns to you. Float a hypothetical scenario in a meeting and watch who tenses. These aren't games, they're strategic diagnostics. They reveal the players, the traitors, the climbers. You don't need to confront anyone. Let them wonder. Let them fear what you know. When people can't read you, they hesitate. And when they hesitate, you gain time control and insight. Your unpredictability becomes your power. Your silence becomes their anxiety. This is how the true Machiavellian moves: with grace, with patience, and with precision. You don't fight chaos, you engineer it. You don't just read the room, you build it. In a world obsessed with visibility, your greatest strength will come from being unseen, but always in control. Because when others play checkers in the open, you'll be playing chess from the shadows. True power isn't found in how many people follow you, it's found in how well you govern yourself. Before you can outmaneuver others, you must first master the battlefield within. The greatest enemy is not always the traitor across the table, but the weakness inside you, the urge to react, to seek validation, to be understood. In a world filled with manipulation, temptation, and betrayal, your ability to regulate your own mind is your ultimate defense. This mastery begins with emotional discipline. You must train yourself not to act from impulse, but from intention. When someone offends you, you don't lash out. You observe. When rumors swirl around your name, you don't defend. You calculate. Power lies in the pause. The one who responds slowly with purpose exudes strength. The one who can endure discomfort without losing composure becomes untouchable. Daily rituals of self-governance are essential. Practice negative visualization. Imagine losing it all and build strength in that scenario. Meditate on impermanence so that no betrayal or setback can break your core. Reflect at the end of each day not just on what others did, but on how you responded. Were you strategic or emotional? Were you sharp or sloppy? This constant refinement is what separates those who rise from those who crumble. You must also detach from the illusions of permanence, friendships, alliances, even identity. These things shift, fracture, evolve. Don't cling to them. Instead, anchor yourself in your values, your clarity, your silence. That silence, when paired with vision, becomes your fortress. Because when the world descends into noise and chaos, the person who remains centered becomes the one others look to fear or follow. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That truth is your compass. Not every war is fought with weapons. Some are won with restraint, patience, and the confidence that you are enough on your own. Let your presence speak when your words are quiet. Let your control be the thing they cannot touch. In a world ruled by reaction, your calm is your crown and your mind your throne. Legacy isn't built through luck or charisma. It's forged through strategic influence, disciplined mentorship, and the foresight to plant seeds that will grow long after you're gone. In the game of power, the true elite don't just win in the moment they design their rise so that it echoes beyond their presence. They create successors, not replacements. They build structures, not just victories. And most importantly, they understand that true influence is not about holding power tightly, but about embedding their philosophy into the next generation of leaders. To do this, you must be intentional in how you identify and shape your inner circle. Don't choose protégés based on charm, loyalty, or praise. Choose them based on discipline, resilience, and sharp observation. Watch how they behave under pressure. Watch how they respond to failure, to temptation, to praise. The one who keeps their composure when others panic, the one who still listens when everyone else speaks. That's the person you guide, slowly, deliberately. Mentorship is not friendship. It is a calculated trial by fire. You must place your chosen few in difficult positions. Give them decisions that test their judgment. Let them feel the sting of real consequence. Because power can't be inherited blindly, it must be earned through battle scars. The ones who remain standing, thoughtful and loyal after those tests, they are the foundation of your legacy. But don't just teach them tactics. Teach them how to think. Show them how to read people, how to control perception, how to keep emotions in check while still leading with clarity. Your knowledge must become embedded in their instincts, not copied but evolved. A lasting legacy also means designing systems that protect your influence. Create networks of interdependence where your philosophy is the unspoken rule. Shape the culture of your circle so that even in your absence, your values govern the decisions made. This isn't about ego, it's about endurance. Because one day you will step back. And when that day comes, your name should still carry weight, not because you're present, but because you built something too solid to fall. That is how the Machiavellian leader outlives the moment, by shaping people and systems that reflect their vision long after their shadow is gone. In a world built on masks and manipulation, your greatest transformation begins when you stop trying to be liked and start mastering the truth behind human behavior. The final lesson in the Machiavellian path is the most liberating. You are not here to be accepted. You are here to rule your reality. This isn't about cruelty or coldness. It's about clarity, about finally realizing that the only truth that endures is the one you create, the one you live, the one you enforce through action and presence. When you understand the game, you stop being a pawn moved by emotion and become the architect who moves others. You no longer react, you anticipate. You don't hope for loyalty, you test it. You don't beg for love, you command respect. This shift is not loud. It's internal. It's the silent power of someone who has seen betrayal outgrown illusion and chosen to build not just defenses, but an empire of control. The path is not easy. You'll walk alone often. You'll question everyone, including yourself. You'll see relationships for what they are, temporary intersections of aligned interest, not eternal bonds. But in that solitude, you gain something precious, unshakable self-trust. The kind that no rumor, no disloyalty, no storm can destroy. Because you've trained your instincts, sharpened your perception, and reinforced your purpose. This mindset transforms everything. Every conversation becomes a test. Every alliance becomes a move. Every compliment becomes data. You stop speaking to be heard and start speaking to influence. You don't waste energy proving your worth. Your mere presence becomes proof. And those who once underestimated you, they begin to study you, follow you, fear you. You are not the same. You've seen too much to pretend. You've felt the sting of betrayal and turned it into insight. You've witnessed weakness and turned it into discipline. And now with your strategy refined and your armor in place, you rise not just to survive, but to dominate. This is what it means to master the Machiavellian art, not to manipulate for ego, but to control for purpose. To shape the world before it shapes you. And when others crumble under the weight of illusion, you'll stand unshaken, the predator in a world of prey, the player in a world of pawns. In a world where appearances often mask intentions, one of the most powerful lessons you can apply to everyday life is this: not everyone who smiles at you is a friend, and not every relationship deserves your trust. The truth is, many connections are built on convenience, not loyalty. People will support you when it benefits them, then disappear when your value fades. Recognizing this doesn't make you cold, it makes you wise. One of the most important life skills you can develop is emotional intelligence combined with strategic thinking. Pay attention not just to what people say, but how they behave under pressure, how they respond to your success, and how they act when they think you're not watching. Learn to observe before you invest. Let people prove their intentions with consistency, not words. At the same time, focus on becoming your own strongest ally. Build your confidence, sharpen your awareness, and maintain control over your emotions. When you rely less on others for validation, you become harder to manipulate. You stop chasing approval and start commanding respect. And when betrayal does come, and it will, you won't be destroyed by it. You'll be ready. Set boundaries. Rotate trust. Test loyalty in small ways before granting big access. And always keep your long-term interests above temporary emotions. Relationships should support your growth, not distract from it. In the end, the lesson is simple but transformative. Be kind but not naive. Be strategic, not suspicious. Protect your peace, guard your power, and walk through the world with eyes wide open. Because the moment you stop being a pawn in other people's games is the moment you start playing by your own rules and winning.